So welcome to the Believe in Buckeye podcast channel. You know, I've been seeing on Twitter that a lot of fans are kind of interested in, okay, what went wrong on defense? There's some concern about the defense. And I figured, I got time. Let's kind of go through it and look at it together. Kind of like the players do on a Sunday, the day after the game. They get with their coaches, they go through the film. So let's take a look at it. So see, this is kickoff right here. And now kickoff, that was his own issues, right? This first one was good though. They got kicked it deep. It's a touchback. I want to go ahead and watch this first drive of the Ohio State defense versus Marshall. Shout out to I think the channel's called Brody Knows Ball. Puts the full game clips together in about 30, 40 minutes or so. So it's kind of what I use to kind of go through, rewatch the game at times. But yeah, first play of the game, lined up in a 10 personnel, meaning 4 wide receivers. I'm assuming these are all wide receiver personnel. I don't know if one of those guys is a tight end or not, but none of them are attached to the line. So, kind of a 4 wide look, and this is the personnel they kind of give them pretty much most of the first half, and it was they made some plays in the run game with this personnel and in the pass as well. So you get started. Ohio State looks like they're in some type of quarters cover, maybe actually a cover 2. Looks like it ends up being some type of cover 2, and they're just trying to get a quick pass out. And Jordan Hancock does a good job of relating to his guy and getting the ball out. Good play by Hancock. Come back, second down, 2nd and 10. Now 2nd and 10, they didn't get much on first down, so they're gonna want to get like 4 or 5 yards, or 5, 6 yards, 7 yards on 2nd down, so that they can get into a 3rd and manageable situation. Ohio State shows a cover 1 man-to-man look. I think they stay in it here. They stay in it. Quick RPO type action from the quarterback, and it's just a quick pass here. They throw the slant, right? When I say RPO, it's run pass. They're reading the linebackers, or they're reading the some of these underneath players, or those underneath players are coming forward. They try to throw the slant or whatever behind them. In this case, it's man-to-man, so it doesn't really matter, right? All of these guys are locked in on their guy. Hancock's in good position. He has slight inside leverage. So he has to protect he's trying to protect himself against a slant, right? He breaks, and he's right there, all right? He's right there. The receiver makes a good play, good pass. They get the play. So on 2nd down, they get what they want. Now they get into a 3rd and manageable situation. Now on 3rd and 3, so 3rd and medium, 3rd and a little bit, 2-3 yards. As a defense, you want to play tighter coverage, right? Because if they just throw the ball for 3 yards and they fall at the sticks, it's a first down, right? So defenses tend to play man-to-man in these types of situations. And on this case, though, Ohio State shows pressure. They're disguising, they show pressure. Look, from the 2 linebackers, they walked up in gaps. All of the defensive backs that are in coverage are locked in on their guys, right? They're all showing across the board press coverage. I think that's Ransom in the slot playing off, right? With a deep middle field safety. They're actually going to get out of this, and I think they're going to shift to kind of a cover 2. So they do a good job disguising coverage. This could be effective because you expect, as an offense, you expect man-to-man. You expect man-to-man. As a defense, you're expecting something quick at the sticks because they only need 3 yards. If you can show them a man look, quarterback thinks he has a one-on-one matchup, just like he had on the play before, a quick slant. He thinks he could throw a quick slant or a quick pass, and he doesn't recognize. He may not recognize that they're dropping into a kind of a cover 2 coverage, and that ball can be thrown right to the defender, right, in that situation. So they disguise. One thing about disguising like this, you just want to make sure you can get to your spot so that you don't sacrifice coverage for disguise. So my biggest pet peeve with overdoing the disguise is that, yes, you need to disguise coverage. You can't just go out there and continue to just show the offense what you're doing. But you need to be able to have a plan for how you're going to disguise and how you're going to get to where you need to be. You'll see Lathan Ransom at the bottom. He's going to roll back to be a half cover two safety, covering the half. You'll see Denzel Burke, who's a corner at the bottom, is going to drop to the flats, right? Davidson up top, he's going to do the same thing up top. He looks like he's playing man. He's going to drop to the flats, and then Jordan Hancock, who is in that slot up top, he's in that slot position. He's showing man. He's going to drop inside to be kind of like a hook curl type player. Him and I think that's Sonny Styles at the linebacker who walked up in the gap. They're kind of the same. They have basically the same responsibility on each side, and then that Mike is dropping in the middle hole. So we let it play out. See, everybody drops. Everybody relates to the guy in their zone. You see, Denzel has a running back coming to the flat, so he has to make sure he stays wide because that guy is technically going to be in his area. Sonny Styles has a guy sitting right there at the sticks. Sonny Styles is there. Jordan Hancock has a guy sitting right there at the sticks. He's right there. You got Cody Simon in the middle for anything, and they have everything covered, right? This is good spacing. This is good coverage. Now, where they get a little bit in trouble is that defensive end, and I'm just going to take it back to the start here. That defensive end, he's trying to get some pressure. I think that's JT up top, trying to get some pressure. He ends up inside, and the quarterback's able to break contain. Now that the quarterback breaks contain, if the quarterback was to continue to run, one of these defensive backs are going to have to get to him. So they have to make a decision. How long do we stay locked in coverage before we decide to go get the quarterback? You see Jordan Hancock right now seeing all that space. He begins to come off the receiver. That opens up a little bit of a void for the quarterback to make that pass right here. It's a good job by the quarterback. Good job by the quarterback buying some time, using his threat to run as an opportunity to create something for this receiver. Yeah. They made a play. What could have been done better? Hancock maybe could have waited a little bit longer. But also, as this quarterback flows out to the left, it's kind of scramble rules now. That corner in the flat wants to stay with that outside receiver until he feels the real threat for that quarterback getting the first down, crossing the line of scrimmage and getting the first down, potentially getting the first down. The linebackers just need to kind of flow to where the quarterback is going. All right. So as Hancock leaves, Cody Simon kind of has to overtake that spot. The receiver in this case does a really good job here of just sitting in the void, sitting in that space, and giving a quarterback a target. So they make a play. And that guy, Metcalf, is a good player. He's a little slot receiver, and he's proved he's a pretty good player. All right, next play, they run it. The defense is in good position on this play. I'm not going to spend too much time on that one. Next, you got a 2nd and 7. Now, this is a good play. All right, they try to get the screen, but I want you to watch the defensive backs. Jordan Hancock on the slot as a nickel corner. Davidson Igbinosun as a corner. Watch how they just completely destroy this play. All right, you got two receivers blocking two guys. Watch how they destroy this play. First, Hancock. Boom. Now, that's a smaller receiver, but he gets his hands out. He gets him pressed out, and he gets his guy. He throws his guy away. He throws him away to go clear out the space to make the play. Now watch Davidson up top. Boom, boom. He pushes the receiver into the back, right? And that gives Caleb Downs, who's in pursuit, Cody Simon, who's in pursuit, a clear path to go help make this play. I remember during the game they call out Caleb Downs, going downhill and making the play. But this play is really made by Hancock and Davidson destroying the receivers. Look at that. Get out of here. Out of here. Now Caleb Downs has a clear path to go make a play. All right. That's good pursuit by the defense. Now, 3rd and 4. I don't know if I even remember this play. 3rd and 4. The defense ends up in what looks to be a cover 2, some type of cover 2 type concept. Maybe it's quarters, but it feels like either a cover 2 or a cover 2 match type defense, which means similar to the play I talked about before. Denzel really is just working his way to the flat. Davidson's working his way to the flat. What happens at the bottom of the screen with Denzel Burke, if he's in a cover 2, he ends up not getting any receiver coming to the flat. So he continues to squeeze the route and continues to flow inside with it because nothing comes outside. Now that's if they're in cover 2. They may not be. They might be in the quarters coverage. If they're in the quarters. He has to take that. He has to match that receiver, but he should pick up the safety. The safety's help inside. That safety has no work, right? And what happens here? I don't know if it's a quarters or a cover 2, but either way, he should pick up that safety inside. Caleb Downs sees something. He sees something. I think he sees that ball going to Metcalf, who's sitting down at the sticks, and it ends up not going there. It goes right behind him. So again, Marshall made a play, right? Downs is trying to make a play. His eyes on the quarterback. He sees the quarterback. He technically doesn't have anything, so he's free. He's reading the quarterback. Boom. He thinks that quarterback is about to let it go and throw it to that receiver, and he throws it in right behind him. So you would like for him to hold his water just a little bit longer. So that he's in position to make that play. They have the numbers. They have the coverage. Again, tip your hat to Marshall for making the play. Okay, now it's 1st and 10. Is this the? No, this isn't. Okay, so 1st and 10. They're in what looks to be man-to-man. So Davidson starts out on that receiver out wide. Let me go back for a second. So Davidson starts on this receiver out wide. The receiver motions down, and on the motion, bump, bump, bump. I'm going to take the new guy that's the number 1 receiver, and then Lathan Ransom takes that inside guy. Now, for those of you who are familiar with single high safety defense, cover 1 or cover 3, you have a safety deep in the middle of the field, right? That safety deep in the middle of the field is where the help is for any deep route. So whoever's on the slot or a receiver that has a tighter split, right? They can bank on that safety helping them on a deep pass as long as that route stays relatively inside, right? So Lathan Ransom here is playing like a kind of tight outside leverage, about 6-7 yards off. He's playing tight outside leverage. And that's good position to start. That's good leverage to start because if this receiver that he's guarding, and Lathan Ransom's at the top, he's playing off. He's at the top about the 34-yard line. If that receiver was to just take off and run straight, he'll pick up that help from Caleb Downs. They can't throw a deep pass to that slot receiver running straight down the field without Caleb Downs being able to make up that ground and go pick the ball up, right? So if that's the case, your leverage as a defensive back against a slot receiver is going to be tight outside. You want to be tight to him. You don't want to be too far outside, so you don't give him a bunch of space to just run wherever he wants. You want to be outside leverage, and you want to keep that. But you also want to be really aggressive on shorter routes because if he runs a double move, if he runs anything deep from where he's at, you pick up the help from the safety. So in order to do that, you really can't back up too much as the receiver is coming at you. You can't back up too much because what you want to do is eliminate space. And the way you eliminate space is you got to take an angle directly to where the receiver is going to end up. And I say that because in this situation, Ransom is backing up a little bit, and then he kind of gets caught. The issue with being caught like that is it now creates the space because the space in this situation, different than like the outside receiver, because you pick up that help from the safety. In this situation, the space is really lateral. It's horizontal, right? Sideline to sideline is where all the space exists because you're not going to get a ton of help from anybody sideline to sideline. You are going to get help from that guy going deep, right? So you want to be in the best position to be able to go sideline to sideline. In this case, because you're already outside leverage, young corners, you're already outside leverage, right? You want to maintain that leverage, but you want to get as close. You want to absorb this route and get as close as possible because you're protected deep, right? Which means you can play this from a shuffle instead of backing up because the deep threat isn't as much of a threat with the help from the safety. As he comes up the field, you can start shuffling down closer and closer to this hip. You want to be right on his outside hip when he gets to you. You don't want the space. You want to eliminate the space by absorbing the route and getting closer to his outside hip. And you want to do it from a shuffle. because a shuffle keeps the shoulders square and allows you to break in any direction. Once you get cocked, it becomes much harder to break away from your leverage, and it allows that receiver to create space. If he's moving away from you and you're cocked, he's going to get further and further away. And now when he goes, if the ball's thrown good, you won't be able to get to it. Let's watch. So he stems inside a little bit. Ransom is a little bit cocked. He's backing up a little bit. He'd be better off just shuffling down. And then boom, when he breaks, then he could break with them. And he could break with. That's a good route by the receiver. It's not terrible coverage. It's not bad coverage. But I'm sure when he gets back in that film room, they're going to talk about, you don't want to get too much ground. You really just kind of want to shuffle straight down the line so that it's angles, man. This receiver's running away from you. What's the shortest distance between 2 points? It's straight down the line, and then boom, when he turns and goes, you turn and go. You're able to turn and break with them. So that's one thing that needs to be cleaned up. There's another play later on where they score a touchdown, and it's kind of a similar situation. He's sitting there and he's waiting. There's no vertical threat because it's in the end zone. There's no way you can throw the deep pass. So the deep pass would be past the back of the end zone, right? So he has to wait. And once you get cocked, it allows that receiver to create space. If he could just shuffle down, shuffle, boom, you could actually jam that receiver and turn and go with them. In college, you can jam 5, 10, 15 yards down the field. As long as the ball's not in the air, you can jam down the field. I saw this play kind of floating on Twitter. I don't remember who, maybe a guy named Ross Fulton or something. Zach Smith commented on it. And I don't pretend to be an expert when it comes to defensive fronts, linebacker play, etc. I played cornerback my entire life and played defensive back. But I understand defense, right? So in this look, and where Marshall was able to be really successful was in the ability to spread things out because of the rules and responsibilities in pass and coverage. Those underneath players are wide and they're outside of the box, really protecting against what today is offensive football, which is run pass option, right? That run pass option makes it difficult for those underneath players to really read and react to run fast because they have to protect the pass. Now, one of the key things with the run pass option though is based on where the quarterback turns, it's that player that's in the run pass read, right? So when you look at it, because of the spread, they get a kind of a 5-man box, and the commentators, I think it was Joe Klatt, really kept kind of mentioning it. They get the light box, but and you can see that you look at the front, the 3 technique is to the boundary, to the short side, away from the back as well. Depending on coaching, a lot of times you might have that 3 technique set to the back so that you get a guy in the A gap, right? You get a guy in that A gap away from the back, and then you see Sonny Styles here is in the boundary. If you have a guy in the A gap, then Sonny Styles can really kind of, if he had to fold in, would be folding into a B gap, which is a little bit closer. But I mean, there's different things you can do. A lot of times when we face, and we didn't, when I played, the run pass option was around, but not everybody ran it. At least it's not as prevalent as it is today. But a lot of times when they spread us out like this, we just have the defensive lineman do some stunts. You have a defensive end played a little bit heavy, really close up those gaps inside and force everything out. And when you force everything out, now those players who really have to stay true to their coverage can now be kind of outside force type players, and be in that run fit because everything is kind of pushed out to them. But I want to take a look at this play, right? So at the start, cornerback turns to the field, right? So as soon as he turns, you have a running back with square shoulders, which means that guy can end up anywhere when it comes to zone and cut back, right? So, but as soon as his quarterback turns his shoulders, I would suspect that Sonny Styles, who is here in the bottom, who really has to protect against kind of the RPO run pass option, has some coverage responsibility. Once that quarterback turns, once he turns and his ball is handed off, you likely would pick him up to be able to play into that A gap, right? He might not be as fast a trigger as you would want, because initially, he's concerned about pass. But once that quarterback turns his shoulders, he's not going to be the player that the quarterback is reading for an RPO. It's going to be Jordan Hancock who's up top. So you would think that you pick him up in the run, and then that allows the Mike linebacker, who was Corey Simon in this particular case, to play that B gap up top. You got the double team on the nose. He kind of gets knocked into the opposite A gap, right? He isn't able to hold his ground too much. He's getting double teamed. But Cody Simon should pick up Sonny Styles and be able to play a little bit more to the right, play into that gap. One of the challenges here, though, as we watch it, is just the amount of space, right? The defensive end, I think that's JT up top. It seems like he's pass rushing up top, and because of that, he feels like the lineman, the passer or whatever, he's pass rushing up top because he kind of ends up wide. It creates so much space. That really makes it tough on the linebacker, right? Especially because he also sees the gap to the left. He also sees that A gap to the left open up pretty big too. And even though Sonny Styles likely is supposed to help fill that with the quarterback turning away, Cody probably doesn't actually feel him there, right? So, it's easy to say what a guy should do when you're watching it like this. But when you're on the field and this stuff opens up, it's not as easy. But you would think in this case, because they just kept it base, they didn't adjust, they didn't, bring the defensive ends in, which if they did, the players didn't get the call. You would think that Cody, in this case, and Sonny Styles are supposed to take care of those two gaps. But I will say that defensive end going up the field really creates just so much space to where this running back has so much space to get away from the linebacker in this case. So I don't think they're expecting the Mike linebacker to two gap, which means take care of both gaps, right? Not commit. I do think they would likely expect to pick up that extra run defender based on which way that quarterback turns. And then also, they have to solve for these ends. See, at the bottom, Sawyer isn't just running upfield. Sawyer isn't running upfield. JT kind of gets a far upfield. You need to constrict that space some to really be able to stop this play. But ultimately, they're going to look at this. They're going to see this on film. They're going to make their adjustments. They likely held back some of the adjustments that they probably would make if this was a Big Ten opponent or bigger game. So I'm not really concerned. I do think that there is some improvement needed at that linebacker level, and you got a guy like Styles who's seen a lot of this stuff that he hasn't seen, not from this perspective before, from that linebacker perspective. Things are just coming at you fast. So I think there is a need for them to improve their read and react ability there. Here, Sawyer makes a good play, just scraping really tight. He's a young unblocked player. Goes straight down the line, makes a play. That's a good play. Here again, man, Marshall does a good job getting the quarterback in the run game. They got enough to block. I think here, Marshall has the guys to block. Sonny Styles is kind of peeking to see where that receiver is while he's dropping in coverage. He sees a pass set, likely from the offensive lineman. And that running back gets out as a lead blocker for the quarterback. Oh, everybody's blocked. They got what they want. I think what you'll see as a coach in this situation is for one of your guys to make a play, right? Yeah, the Marshall has executed it perfectly, but when you have talented players. You have great players. They make great play. All right. You want to see a guy like Styles be able to hit this guy, hit this running back, hit him, boom, get off the block, and go make a play. It won't be a TFL. It won't be a hit at the line of scrimmage. It might be 5, 6, 7 yard gain, but it's not a first down, right? So I think that's what you're kind of looking for there. And then here, all you young defensive players out there, when the ball is sitting on the sidelines, fumble, the ball sitting on the sideline, pick it up. Pick it up. Don't dive on it unless you could put your body between the ball and the sideline. Because if you dive on it, it's going out of bounds. Your momentum is going to carry that ball out of bounds. Let's see if they give one more look at this. Yeah, you see this? Falls out. Boom. Great job punching that ball out. All right, Lathan Ransom be all over the field, man. Great job punching that ball out. You want to be able to scoop and score. I'm going to stop there. A couple more plays, a few good run stops, and then defensive lineman gets kind of knocked to the ground and creates a void for the running back to go over the top for a touchdown. I'm not going to go into that play. Just overall, I think the ultimate theme is I think there needs to be some improvement from a read and reaction from the linebacker position. There's also some technique improvement in the coverage. There's a few plays later on as well. And ultimately, just good eyes and attention to detail and quick reaction. That's the biggest thing. And then somebody has to go make a play, right? I know it came out their nose and didn't grade anybody out as a champion, right? I'm sure there were some guys who played to the level of a champion grade, but really sending the message that somebody has to go make a play. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody on this defense has to be a lead, has to be a dog, has to go make a play. Now, there were some guys who I thought, who played well. But, ultimately, you give up this much situations where, there's opportunities to stop it. As a coach, you just want to see somebody, take leadership and go make the play. This is Believe in Buckeye podcast, man. I'm going to try to get Brian on here. We do a little bit more of these types of breakdowns. He's much better at breaking down some of the run responsibilities for the offensive lineman and different things in the offense. But check out our podcast, man. We're on subscribe to us on YouTube. We're on all the podcast platforms, just talking Buckeye football, talking Big Ten football, talking Buckeyes in NFL. So yeah, show us some love. And also comment. I'm interested. What do you guys want to see? Is there anything that you noticed that you kind of want us to hit on and take a deeper look at? And hit me up on Twitter, man, at Chimcheck on Twitter, at Believe Buckeye on Twitter. I forget Brian's Twitter name, but yeah, hit us up on Twitter. Ask some questions. Let's continue the dialogue.